Have you had a look in your risk register lately? I bet if you do, you'll find things like we might be late, we might be over budget, heavy rain, lack of resources. Those will be the statements that are written down under risk description. And in actual fact, they're meaningless. We might be late, we might be over budget is the effect of something else happening. Heavy rain, lack of resources, they could be the cause of a risk. So it's very important that we phrase a risk in terms of a cause, perhaps heavy rain, the event, the river level may rise, there's the uncertainty in that event, and the effect, the housing estate will be flooded. Heavy rain may cause the river to rise, burst its banks, and the housing estate is flooded. Cause, event, effect. Another common failure is to phrase an issue as a risk. Something serious that we need to get to grips with. For example, we don't have any staff with this element of experience. This is a big risk to our project. I've heard that statement many times. No, it's not a risk, it's an issue. If your staff don't have the skills and the experience, you won't be able to do the work. There is no uncertainty about that, and it needs to be dealt with. So take care that your risks are the uncertain elements, and make sure that your issues or problems are really dealt with as problems and that they are resolved. The SWOT analysis to help us do that, to identify our strengths, our weaknesses, what are the opportunities, what are the threats. We could also use a prompt list in that workshop. A prompt list is a list of risk areas like economic, technological, operational, organizational. And under those headings, we can then think about the different risks in those areas. We could extend those headings into a risk breakdown structure. And we look at all the risk areas within technical, or legal, or environmental, political risks, social risks, economic risks, perhaps. We could also look at previous projects for lessons. What were the risks that happened in this project? How could we avoid them this time? We could also use a technique like assumptions analysis, where we look at our assumptions, and if we're happy with them, we'll leave them as assumptions. If we're concerned that they're not very valid, then we may raise a risk against them. All of these tend to be looking at threats. If we want to look at our opportunities, we could use a technique called constraints analysis, where we look at our constraints for, say, time, money, scope, or quality. And we ask the question, if we were to relax that constraint, does it give us some opportunities to do some other work within our project? Now, of these, the most popular technique is brainstorming. And don't forget that you will be using this throughout the project, particularly every time you plan a stage or a work package. Once you plan the project, of course, you will be looking at the risks associated with that stage or with that work package.